te hablo. Amor, 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 te hablo. Amor, te quiero mucho. Amor, te hablo.
So one of the things that's really at the core of UBELONG is the notion that we're not a charity. We're way beyond kind of that old top-down model of international development where you come in, you hand out a lot of money, and you hope that that kind of solves problems. We don't do that. When we go into a country, we don't come as a superior, we come as an equal. And now we're in Cuba.
The magic of UBELONG is our values are in sync in terms of the passion of the mission of learning and immersion, stretch us, stretch our thinking.
It was a cultural exchange. It was people to people, but really, what can we do to engage and integrate the people interested in being a part of Cuba with the Cubans?
This was not pre-packaged. We got real Havana, and it's nitty, gritty, old, new, emerging, broken, and I love that.
Cuba stands up. When we were going to Ecuador, Galapagos, and then Morocco, I knew somebody who had been there before. We are the first ones to go to Cuba. We are kind of blazing a trail almost.
To me, Cuba is even more special. One, it is the first UBELONG trip to Cuba. It is also a historical time.
The moment in time here with Obama's visit and the Rolling Stones visit and all the embargo talk and what's going on, and it's obviously got attention of Congress and the administration, and I think it's going to be an ongoing, continuous process.
This island has been in transition since 1959, constant change and transformation. Cuban people are creative, they are producers of culture, of knowledge, to bring solutions. You have to approach to establish a conversation, and that's what happened here.
I want to do more than be a tourist and stay in a nice hotel and be served food like the privileged class.
We lived in a neighborhood, we lived with host families, and we got to know those host families. Happy people with really humble surroundings.
That was probably one of the most impactful things for me. Just being in that small home with them, trying to communicate back and forth.
You know, and they were just like, welcome to my house.
And that was one of the phrases they wanted to learn. Welcome to my house. My house is your house.
There is a really strong feminist power in this country that is remarkable and inspiring to see, and I'm invigorated by that to take that home.
People, every single person we spoke to, embraced people from the United States and wanted that connection.
We had a young man, Jose Antonio, was just this beautiful, positive, courageous young man.
I really connected with one of the leaders of the art project. Even though the language was a barrier, our ability to connect and laugh and talk to each other.
The small groups in our art projects became quite intimate. We found out a lot about one another, and we knew we were doing something special for Cuba and for ourselves.
You know, we really wanted to represent the color that we've been seeing and just how beautiful Havana and the people were. And we just thought that would be a really beautiful thing to add to that garden.
We both were in the English project, so we taught English and talked conversationally. I was amazed on the first day. There was 3 of us from, the trip, and 3 women. And it was like we were old girlfriends by the end.
One of the English students asked if on our 3rd day that we could have an exchange of ideas or a conversation about our experience in Cuba and their experience of us. It was quite challenging. On the other hand, it was really gratifying, and I think we learned a lot about one another.
The last few months, weeks, and what I've seen in the last few days, you have the feeling that a new era is about to start. There is enthusiasm because there is the possibility of having a conversation, which is what we're doing here. That's very special.
You can hear it in their voices, they're excited for the change, and there's also a little apprehension of how do they maintain their culture, how do they maintain their family structure. They don't want to become America.
Tourism is going to help Cuba, but it's the embargo that really will still, as long as that's in place, continue to limit the Cuban people. Understanding the impact that we have from the United States on Cuba, their culture, their people, how they get cars fixed.
I am the lucky one. I'm the fortunate one to be able to be embraced by these people, welcomed. They have strength and independence, and they have so much love and compassion and empathy.
I asked the woman leading the tour what she thought about the Obama visit, and she had a great line. We're fighting all over the world, and we don't need to be doing that. Anything that brings friendship is positive and good. We need to be doing more of that.
We're all the same, and yet we live in different environments. We live under different ideologies, but yet there's probably more alike than there is different.
It's very inspiring and gives me a lot of hope for the future.
I just sort of have fallen in love with parts of this country and would love to see more.
Thank you very much.